Hello, welcome to Chapter 11. In this chapter, we'll discuss the role of human resource management in multinational organizations. Human resource management departments are charged with various responsibilities. First, they are charged with staffing all positions within an organization. To successfully staff all positions, HR needs to recruit a broad enough and diversified enough net of qualified individuals for those vacant positions. Then HR needs to select the right people from qualified applicants. Once individuals are selected, they are trained for success in their positions. Training can include both onboarding and learning about the organizational culture, as well as training for job-specific skills and capabilities needed for successful performance. Once employees are in their jobs and working, their performance needs to be managed on an ongoing basis. Employees who are performing well need to be rewarded for doing so as to enforce these desirable behaviors. And employees who are underperforming need to either be trained or undergo some type of disciplinary action to make sure that their performance improves. HR is also responsible for structuring competitive compensation packages. Appropriate compensation can help a company recruit, retain, and motivate qualified employees. Failure to adequately compensate employees can reduce motivation and also increase employee turnover. Finally, HR is very frequently responsible for labor relations, managing the relationship between the individual employees, the labor unions that represent them, and the employing organization. While in the domestic context, HR is tasked with all of these responsibilities, HR also does these things in multinational organizations, but this becomes more complex because the interaction occurs with different types of employees, and HR also needs to make a decision regarding to what extent HR policies need to be adapted to the local context. First, let's look at the different types of employees that are employed by multinational organizations. The first group of employees are parent country nationals. Those are individuals employed by the parent organization at headquarters. When those individuals are sent to a foreign location to manage a subsidiary, they become expatriate employees. Expatriate employees are employees who come from a country that is different from the one in which they are physically working. For example, if an American company would establish a subsidiary in a European country, the Americans working in that European country would be parent country nationals or expatriates. The employees of the specific European country would be host country nationals. They are local workers in the country in which the subsidiary is located. Given the law at the level of the European Union, which allows all citizens of member states to freely move across member states and legally work in any one country that is a member of the European Union, when working in Europe, an organization might also encounter third country nationals. Those are individuals who are not from the country where the company is headquartered, nor the country in which the subsidiary is located, but originate from another country. Those are third country nationals. Third country nationals and host country nationals, when transferred to headquarters for training, for example, become expatriates. Another type of employee are flexpatriates or commuter assignees. Those are employees who live in one country and spend part of the work week or short periods on assignment at the subsidiary level in a foreign country. When organizations use a mix of parent country nationals, third country nationals, and host country nationals in their different global locations, they develop an international cadre of globally minded managers. Of course, you might also see some self-initiated expatriates. Those are individuals who independently decide to move to another country and pursue work opportunities there. It might be advantageous for multinationals to look for these types of self-initiated expatriates. For example, if an American multinational were to establish a subsidiary in China, it might look for American nationals who are there for whatever reason and try to hire them. This might be beneficial because these individuals speak the parent country language, but are also more comfortable in the host country culture, have already adapted to living and working in the host country culture, and at times also speak the host country languages. These individuals don't require the same expensive packages like regular expatriates, and we'll talk about compensation in a bit. And because many emerging markets have severe shortages of qualified locals, using such self-initiated expatriates may provide multinationals with local experts at lower cost. Of course, there are also some challenges in hiring these individuals. They are external hires. They are not parent country nationals who are expatriated to work for you in the foreign country, and therefore they know less about the multinational itself, less about the multinational's culture, and are not likely to be as loyal as parent country nationals already working for you, relocating to the host country for a managerial position. In deciding between the three types of employees, or the main three types of employees, parent country nationals, third country nationals, and host country nationals, organizations need to balance strategic objectives with cost considerations. In transnational strategies, if you remember in the chapter where we discussed strategy, transnational strategies are those organizations that use an approach of locating value chain activities anywhere around the world based on where it's most efficient and cost effective. These types of organizations are more likely to use employees based on their needs regardless of their nationality. Multi-domestic strategies in companies that are heavily focused on local responsiveness and adapting their practices to the host country, these types of organizations are more likely to favor host country nationals as managers because these individuals have a deeper understanding of the host country market. Other considerations might be external to the organization. If there's a lack of available and qualified managers in the host country, the organization will be forced to use parent country nationals until it can develop, train, and groom a line of host country managers. A different consideration when it comes to parent country nationals is, do you even have employees at headquarters who are willing to relocate and work in a foreign country? And does the foreign country allow you to bring as many foreign nationals as you want? Many countries will limit the number of foreigners that a company can bring because these governments want to protect jobs for their own citizens. There are multiple considerations that go into the decision of whether to hire a parent country national, a host country national, or a third country national. Some of them are strategically oriented, and we'll discuss those at the end of chapter 11. Many multinationals would potentially favor hiring parent country nationals because this offers them higher levels of control of operations at the subsidiary level in the foreign country, and easier coordination because the parent country national will speak the language, the corporate language, or the language of the home country where headquarters is located. But deciding whether or not to hire a parent country national should not only consider ease of coordination control, and also the cost of such assignees. These types of employees can sometimes cost 3 to 4 times as much as they would working at home. For example, using the example from your textbook, a bilingual senior executive moving from the US to China can expect about $400,000 in annual salary. This is supplemented with a 35% hardship allowance, given that China is considered a hardship destination. This will typically also include a company car with a driver, as well as company-provided housing. Additional expenses might include cost of living allowances, relocation allowances to move personal belongings from the home country to the host country, And if the individual has a spouse and dependents, this might also include education allowance to cover the cost of international education for dependent children. Of course, there might also be safety concerns when we ask people to move internationally. A final concern, which is especially relevant for U.S. expatriates, is failure. U.S. expatriates tend to have higher failure rates than those expatriates from Europe and Japan. Expatriate failure is a situation in which the expatriate has not been able to complete the objectives of the assignment or has decided to leave the assignment prematurely before the objectives have been met. Some individuals also define an organization's failure to retain an expatriate post-assignment as expatriate failure. Expatriate failure is a significant issue for multinationals, and we'll look at that next. In order to identify ways to reduce expatriate failure, one would have to first identify the reasons driving expatriate failure. Some of the commonly identified issues that expatriates fail include individual level variables that apply to the individual expatriate, him or herself, as well as the family. First is the personality of the individual. Some individuals have a personality that lends them to easier adaptation across novel situations, while others do not have that type of personality. This personality trait is referred to as openness to experience in the Big Five personality profile. If an individual does not have a personality that is amenable to adjusting across different situations, this individual is likely to face more significant challenges. When individuals don't have the right technical skills to succeed in the job, obviously this could contribute to failure. Sometimes expatriates are pushed into taking on individual foreign assignments, even when they are not really motivated to do so, and this could lead to failure. Of course, the family or the spouse's failure to adapt to the local culture or to the local situation, or when the spouse has to give up his or her career to support the international assignment, all of these could put pressure on the individual and lead to expatriate failure. Failing to adapt to the local culture, failing to develop relationships with important people both in the workplace and beyond are other important variables that contribute to expatriate failure. Of course, there are also some variables that are separate from the individual and the cultural context and apply to the organization. When organizations have unrealistic expectations regarding the tasks that an expatriate can reasonably complete in a 3 to 5 year period, when the company fails to prepare the expatriate for the new culture or the new language, when the company does not do a good job in selecting people who are right for the job, and when the company doesn't provide the necessary support, both technical and otherwise, that managers are used to. And so in order to support expatriates and help them be more successful, best practices recommend putting expatriates through pre-departure training, which might involve some survival level language skills. And this training is often extended to dependents as well, the trailing spouse and children. If the family is able to adjust, this will make adaptation for the expatriate easier as well. In terms of providing support, best practices suggest assigning both a home office and a host country mentor. The mentor in the home office can ensure that the expatriate is kept up to date on changes in the home office and can also serve as an emotional support and advisor for the expatriate when he or she faces problems in the host country. The host country mentor can help the expatriate form these important relationships and adapt to the culture and figure out the local system in a way that makes their adaptation smoother, reduces culture shock, and facilitates adaptation. In spite of the challenges, the risk of failure, and the high cost of expatriates, many multinationals continue sending their people overseas. This is because having your people, parent country nationals, on the ground in the foreign location represents significant benefits for the multinational. First of all, it allows you to help your managers acquire the skills necessary to develop successful strategies in a global context. Taking on an international assignment is a form of management development and can help organizations build a cadre of globally minded managers. Second, having a parent country national overseas gives the organization higher levels of control and ease of coordination across geographically and culturally dispersed operations. Parent country nationals are loyal to the multinational and are likely to serve as an agent of coordination and control in the foreign location. The expatriate can also be a vehicle of information exchange, transferring best practices from the home office to the subsidiary, but also sharing information about the local market with people in the home office. This can help the multinational identify trends and new opportunities in the host country. The expatriate can share this crucial information about local markets and gain insider knowledge of the host country market and unique challenges. Being successful in an international assignment can also boost the individual's self-confidence and increase their level of cultural intelligence. Finally, an expatriate builds relationships while in the foreign location. Those networks can, in the future, act as a vehicle for informal control for the organization. This concludes the first part of Chapter 11. In the second part, we'll discuss in more detail aspects regarding selection, training, compensation, and performance management of expatriate employees.